What's up, everybody? On today's menu, we got the REND, Barbarian, the Bleed King, what it looks like for Season 6. This is taken from PTR. The max here in the pit is 100, no longer 200, and this is tier 92. So, we can see there is no problem at all with defensives, with damage, with AoEs. So this build, I'm pretty sure it can clear tier 100. And my boy just didn't have enough time. Shout out to Dente who cooked this build. Now, there's many versions you can go with this one. There's a standard dual wield version. There is a Shattered Vow, which is the new mythic unique. I think that one is the strongest. And also Ramalani dual wield. The planner has all the variations, so you can try them all out. It's up to you. They all work great. And sadly, I don't have the boss fight from tier 92, so I'm going to show you from tier 90, Pit, the Spirit Caller. But this build uses the new Mythic Headpiece Perdition, which is amazing for offensives, the damage and whatnot. And the combination of Rune, we are actually utilizing Earthquakes here with the aspects for both damage increase and also damage reduction on the amulet. So that's why this build is so tanky without any challenging Shout or Iron Skin. And you can see the cooldowns. Absolutely no problem. We have also a non-stop uptime on Ancients. I would say Ancients, Call of the Ancients, is the best ultimate Barbarian has. It offers way too much, because it gives you attack speed, damage increase, it gives you a lot of fury generations. You can just keep spamming abilities because this build runs no generator, as only Rend, which is the core skill, and Rupture. Now, I also will publish builds from PTR, which is Hammer of the Ancients, Earthquake, Whirlwind, Earthquake, Devil's Devil, and also Mighty Throw, Earthquake, Devil's Devil. So I'll have those 3 builds up as well until the expansion. You guys can look forward to it. And yeah, you can see there is no problem at blasting 92 tier. And after this, I will show you the Pit tier 90 boss. And once again, I didn't have footage for this one because it ended shortly. So let's get into it. This is the Spirit Caller we got. My boy was running different setup here because this was like a test setup. So instead of Leap, there is Charge, and instead of Leap, there is a Steel Grasp, which is needed for grouping mobs together. And non-stop uptime, no problem with the berserking, and damage increase over 2 billion as well damage you could see over there, which is quite crazy. Stagger time for this boss. If my boy had Steel Grasp, it would be much faster run. As you could see in the 92 tier, there is a lot more time for the boss, like 9 minutes, which is not the case here because Steel Grasp just does a lot. I think Steel Grasp is mandatory ability for any bar build going into the pit, trying to push or clear tier 100 and whatnot. So yeah. So we got that going, and let's take a look at the builder. So let's go with the setup. We got the Hair of Perdition, which is the new mythic. Core skills, crit chance, lucky hit, movement speed. Lucky hit goes very well with Rage of Harrogath, and also gives you 60% multiplier on the damage, and also damage to angels and demons as the implicit on the headpiece. Now the chest piece here is lucky hit. When you inflict the bleeding on enemy, there's a chance to reduce cooldown, out of 60% chance. So stacking lucky hit here is pretty good, and we also have lucky hit from the ring itself. We got Fist of Fate for extra lucky hit, but also apply CC and just the damage increase between 1 to 300. So good stuff. Area's Bearing is the has the almost, well, not almost, it has the absolute full uptime on Call the Ancients. Also gives you resistances. If you're not running Tyrell's Might, going into Torment 4, which is the highest difficulty, it has minus 1000 armor and minus 100% resistances, I believe it is. So yeah, this is very much needed. Having at least one unique with resistances is very good. So that's why we also masterwork in. On the boots, Concussive Strike, extra aspect for damage, ranks to brawling skills, and we get armor and fear per second. Armor is very hard to cap as well without Harlequin Crest, so that's why we have this here. Earthquake size, pretty important as well. Mobility cooldown reduction will be for your charge. So that's right there. You could replace the leap with Steel Grasp. I believe we have a setup with Ramalani, and then we also have Shattered Vow. So let's take a look at this build because this one is running Steel Grasp from the footage. We don't have Rupture though, so I would recommend probably instead of Leap, I would recommend Rupture. But it's really up to you. I'll go with this one because we have the Shattered Vow. So on the 200, we go with Creeping Death. This one gives you damage increase for your damage over time, dots, aka bleed, for the amount of CC applied to the target. That's why we run Fist of Fate, because this one applies all the CCs. And we want the chance to for Rend to hit twice Masterwork it. The damage for Berserking is needed only on one item without having to use Ire, but we'll see. My boy might use that. On the dual wield, we got the Doombringer for extra damage reduction, max life, another lucky hit proc. This will guarantee our tankiness through the roof. That's why we don't even need any Challenging Shout or Iron Skin. The other dual wield we got is Ground Stomp for the damage increase. That's what I touched on, the Earthquakes. Damage for Berserking, once again, you get a chance to restore a primary resource, which is pretty good as well. With the amount of lucky hit we have with this build. And lucky hit goes well with the Shattered Wall with the new Mythic Polearm, which gives you damage over time increase, attack speed increase, also lucky hit giving you Berserking. So with this, you're guaranteed to have non-stop Berserking, no problem. And it also executes enemies afflicted by more damage over time than remaining life. So that's why we want to stack as much possible to damage over time. So it goes well with this one as well, because this one also gives you the same affix. Ring of Revenants here is to proc the Rend passively, but also the duration of the Rend is very important. If you remember from my Flay Barbarian, there is a Flay duration on the items, which is needed as well for the damage increase. More stacks, more bleed, so faster executes for the polearm. Gives you ranks to Rend on top of that, very good stuff. Crit chance. Now, Ring of Starless Sky, again, core skills increase lucky hit, crit chance, attack speed, similar to Hair of Perdition, similar stats. And gives you multiplier on the damage, also makes your Rend cost less, good stuff. And on Amulet, we got, I cannot show you because it doesn't reach up there, but the aspect here is, hold on, I can actually show you. Let me quickly do this, so I'll be able to show you the full thing. This aspect is giving you damage reduction, also scales the Earthquakes even more, furthermore giving you damage from those, or, you know, making them do more damage. So extra damage reduction on Amulet, it's stronger aspects, so it's 45% damage reduction. And the stats on this one are attack speed, ranks to cut to the bone, and percent strength. Stacking strength is very important because this affix got increased and it's up to 40% strength if you masterwork it as a greater affix. Invigorating Fury for some extra heal for sustain and crit damage to stack for gushing wounds. The runes we got going are Tech, which makes it so you spawn automatically Earthquakes, which is linked to Standing Still. This is the best combination. You will spawn a lot of Earthquakes. And then we got the Wax Rune, giving you +3 to all skills with Yule when you cast a skill with cooldown, which is, you know, if you cast it non-stop thanks to this cooldown reduction on this build. Technique, we got 200x. There's only one thing to go for. The skills are as follows: the Rend, Steel Grasp, we got Warcry for the damage, Steel Grasp to group mobs together. Instead of Leap, I recommend Rapture. Rapture is not that needed because you have so much bleed that you can just bleed and run away from the mobs in the pit especially. Charge for the Unstoppable proc, but also for gap closing or like moving around. And Call the Ancients once again for damage increase, attack speed, and fury generation. Skill overview, we got the 2 points, doesn't matter, just to unlock the core, 3 heal here. Maxed out Rend, very good passive here, that where it does more damage to vulnerable targets, so that's amazing stuff. We got some damage reduction, HP increase. We don't run Rallying Cry because we got a charge for the Unstoppable. Warcry maxed out for the damage increase. You don't even need Booming Voice because we have this up non-stop, right? You could go with Leap or Rapture. This is all up to you. This is gonna make it so I think this is better for speedruns if you're doing like lower pit tier, farming the Glyph XP and whatnot. Fully maxed out 3 here for purples, more generation, damage reduction, and proccing Berserking when you damage enemies with charge. Extra passives for damage increase. Cut to the Bone, maxed out, we won this one. Also Steel Grasp, proccing Berserking, Counter Offensive for some extra damage. You can probably finally put points into ultimates, making it so it reduces the cooldown, but also increases the damage from your Ancients, which is not too bad. Dual Wield setup, increase attack speed. Valve up here with the Mace and the Dual Wield. And Invigorating Fury for some more HP. And of course, Gushing Wounds. And for this one, you want to stack crit damage as much as possible. Now the Paragon Board, what we got going on. First board is Ambidextrous. This is the damage with Dual Wield. Also magic increase for the nodes here, which is good for, you know, damage to elites. We want to focus on as many max HP life nodes as possible. Second board we got is a Marshal in the Decimator. This will buff furthermore the vulnerable damage here. You don't need to max this one out. You can just put the points away. But honestly, there is only 5 limits to Paragon Board, including starter board. So you will have so many points and you will basically have nowhere to put them at. So going for main stat node is very important. So we focus on strength nodes. Vulnerable here, extra HP. On the right side, we got Blood Rage. Third board, we put in Challenger in Blood Rage because this one has the most normal nodes, you know, possible available. Because this is the new glyph coming into Season 6 where it will deal increased damage with dual weapons, but also bonus to all normal nodes within the range. So you can ignore Intelligence unless you need extra resistance because it does give resistance. But mainly as strength here, this is the most nodes you can get in the strength board. Up top, some more extra damage. Extra healing here from the passive and damage reduction, since we are bleed build. Another board we got going, almost the last one is Warbringer. Well, here we put Wrath for the crit damage increase, but also when you crit strike, your skills will generate Fury. This will increase with the resist generation, and you want to stack as much crit chance as possible, which is honestly no problem with Fist of Fate, Starless Sky, and Helm of Perdition because they all have crit chance. This is our 45 generator. Spending Fury, you'll get 45 generation, so it's pretty good. Extra resistances will help balance it out. And last board is Hemorrhage. This is for the bleed increase into vulnerable or scaling from vulnerable. I believe that the number for this one is 456%, the cap for this node. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think so. Extra nodes for physical. The glyph we use here is vulnerable. This is exploit to stack even more. And since it's legendary nodes or legendary glyphs, and Season 6, you will get extra damage to vulnerable targets. For the incense and consumables, you want to use the Chorus of War, which is the Type 3 incense. Type 2 and 1. Type 2 you can probably use all resistances. I'm not sure if you will be capped out in Torment 4 with these pants only. And Type 1 is usually used only for strength, 25 strength. The rotation, once again, is Steel Grasp, mobs together, group them up. You want to use... you want to stand still to proc Earthquakes for these two aspects, for damage increase and damage reduction, and then just want to slash away with Rend. And if you use Rupture instead of Leap, just stack the Rend when the HP on the mobs, on enemies, is dark red, and that dark red will be insta-proc with Rupture. So that's really what you want to go for. But I believe we covered everything. Once again, 3 versions here. Standard dual version. This is Ramladni, max resource stacking, and here we go with the Shattered WoW with the new mythic. But yeah, I believe we covered everything. If not, hit me up in the comments. I also stream every day on Twitch and YouTube if you guys want to talk about some stuff going into the expansion. I would appreciate it. But until next time, have a good one and peace.